What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Casual Critic YouTube channel. Today we are reviewing X that just came out last Friday. That was directed by Ty West, and it's got a stacked cast. Mia Goth, Brittany Snow, and those are the only two people that I can come up with on the top. Oh, Jenny Ortega. Now listen, I'm on the Jenny Ortega train for sure after watching this. So let's get into what X is about. Basically, this group of people decide that they're going to make an X-rated movie. Wink. You know what I'm talking about. They're making an X-rated movie. And so they went to this farmhouse. I guess they boarded out one of their other little shacks that they had on the property. And they're going to film this X-rated movie. And the old people that live there in the main house, first of all, they're ancient human beings, and they're nasty looking as fuck. They are nasty. It's uncomfortable to even look in the direction, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if that is mean, but hell, they're nasty looking. And the old lady, she is getting a little jealous, a little upset at the youthful girl's appearance. And so she kind of, decides to take it upon herself to do something about that, if you get my drift. And I don't want to say more than that because this is a no spoiler review because it just came out. So that's basically the gist of what happens in X. Now, my expectations before going in were not very high just because it's a modern horror movie. They're really not that great anymore, let's be honest. I mean, sometimes you'll get a diamond in the rough, but for the most part, they're shit. I did not know, I don't know how I missed this, but I did not know before going into this movie that it was an A24 movie. I am a huge A24 fan. So if I had known that going in, my expectations would have been a lot higher. But then when the movie started and their little logo came up on the screen, I was very, very excited. And I switched my tune immediately. I was like, okay, this is probably going to be really, really good. And it was. Let's get into the review. I want to talk about this movie so bad. I just came back. I wasn't going to record this until tomorrow, but I wanted it fresh in my mind because this movie was so fucking good. It's so fucked up, but it's really good. So let's get into the review. Let's talk about the directing. This is a beautiful, beautiful movie. I love it. Oh, the zooms, the use of the zoom, the pans, the very wide pans, just going right across. I just love it. I love it so much. There's a subtlety to this movie that I think a lot of horror movies, just in general, not just modern horror movies, but a lot of horror movies in general either don't even try the subtle angle that you can take with horror movies, or they try it and it's shit. The sound design in this movie is very, very good. There's a lot of moments where it's eerily quiet. There's this one scene towards the beginning where they're at the farm place that they're at, and Mia Goth's character is just walking around, and it is so quiet, and it's so eerie, and then you see the old lady in the background just walking around watching her. Yeah! What else was I going to say? Oh, so in this movie, when they're making the X-rated movie, the director of the X-rated movie is like, so I want to make this artistic, because this is not just something you can slap together. This is art, yada, 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 right? And I think that was a metaphor for the horror movie, the whole movie itself, because a lot of horror movies are point and shoot. Point and shoot, we're pointing it here, there's something scary going on, that's all we need. We don't need to do anything else. We don't need to, maybe show off our creativity in any way. It's a point and shoot kind of thing. But that is not what Ty West does in this movie. He makes this horror movie so beautiful. I can't even describe how taken aback I was by the use of some of his stuff, because you just don't see that in a lot of horror movies at all, really, especially new ones. So directing was 10 out of 10. Could not have been better directed. It was beautiful. The plot, it's interesting. Okay, now I feel like it has one of those generic, slightly why exactly is this going on kind of story. But, I mean, most horror movies it doesn't make it a bad horror movie. It's just kind of something that I would expect. But, again, that doesn't make it not interesting or bad. As far as the ending, I did want to bring this up because I didn't love the ending. I felt like something was missing. I felt like it was cut off a little bit too short. It was very abrupt ending. Not that I hated the ending. It wasn't terrible. I just didn't love it as much as I love the rest of the movie. There's something that happens to the old lady that is unexpected. I mean, it makes sense. I'm trying to be vague because this is no spoilers. It makes sense, but it's just like, really? That's how we're going to end it? It wasn't really up to par with the rest of the movie for me. Okay, but that's just me. Now let's get into the acting. Everybody in this movie did a really, really good job. It was cast very well. A lot of acting in today's horror movies are corny and flat performances, and that was not the case here, which I was very grateful for, because after watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre last month, my expectations for horror movies nowadays, every time I see a new one, it just dings it a little lower, but this one's a lot different. The other problem that I have with this movie, besides the ending, there is one scene in this movie that I absolutely fucking hated. And I don't mean like it was too gross, it was too scary, blah, blah, blah. I don't mean that. This movie is disgusting. But Brittany Snow is in this movie. You probably know that she was in Pitch Perfect. She can sing. She sings a song in this movie. Now, this is not a spoiler. It's nothing important. But she sings a song in this movie. And I was just like, why the fuck is this here? Why is this here? It did nothing. While she was singing, there was just like footage of different people. Like it was just like zoomed in on different people and it was showing their faces, but it was like, it was really pointless and it took away from the movie for a minute. Like while that was going on, I was like coming out of the movie. Like I was being sucked out. So, I don't know why the fuck. That felt like a deleted scene that they didn't delete on accident or something. Like, it did not belong there. And it was obviously, like, threw off the whole feel, all the timing, all the pacing. It was fucking stupid. And I really hated that part. But other than that, and the ending, which I don't hate but I don't love, it's a fucking masterpiece, to be honest with you. The writing was really good. I really liked Mia Goth's lines. She plays Maxine in the movie. I really like her lines, especially at the end. The writing, I mean, there's not much to say. It's above average writing for a horror movie, for sure. Way better writing than what you're used to seeing in recent horror movies. And lastly, let's talk about the music. The soundtrack was fucking great. It had your mix of because it's set in 1979. It had your mix of, the music that was popular around that time, but also the creepy music that they use. It is terrifying. It is something that kind of sticks with you after the movie. It's one of those kind of songs. I feel like it's probably going to be an iconic horror movie sound. I know that might be a little early to say. Who am I to know? Excuse me. But that's just how I feel, okay? It was terrifying. This movie is extremely sexual. Extremely. If that makes you uncomfortable, you won't like this movie because you see it all. This X-rated film that they're doing, bitch, you see it. You see it all, okay? So if that's not your thing, there's a lot of hoo-has and ding-dongs, okay? So be warned if you haven't seen it yet and you're going to, this is your warning, okay? It felt uncomfortable watching it in a theater with a bunch of other people. I did not like that. I wouldn't have not went because of it, but I feel like it's maybe a good at-home movie by yourself and there's no one else around snickering when things happen. So that's just your warning from someone who's watched it in the theater with a bunch of other people and there was teenagers behind me and they wouldn't shut the fuck up. God. Honestly, and this is a big statement, but it's one of my favorite modern horror movies for sure. It is up there. It is very, very good. I highly recommend it. It is disgusting, so that's also your warning there. It is gory and bloody and gutty and nasty, but it's pretty good. So overall, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I would highly recommend this if you like horror movies. It is a good ass movie. I was not expecting it to be that good, but I very much liked it. I'm glad that I went. If you have watched it, let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. Go down to my description box so you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. It would help me out a lot. I would really appreciate it. I've also got a podcast called The Casual Critic that's on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple. I always forget Apple. It's on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple. It's called The Casual Critic. It's going to be stuff that's different from my YouTube channel. So if you like what you see here and you want more, be sure to listen to my podcast. New episodes of that come out every Saturday. I've got new videos on YouTube coming out Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.